Hey Tara, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. I mean, not that good. I don't want to come and share my.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're feeling crappy. I'm also like getting over a week long cold.
Yeah,
Um,
I hear I was on another meeting today too where saying, it sounds like everybody's kind of sick or getting over it.
yeah, it's that time of year.
Yeah, I guess. And this is your last meeting, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens in January. I mean, I won't be with the city, but if we don't have a planning director, we'll see what my duties will be.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Can I just ask, so I mean I've reviewed the application. I don't so it, the I'm looking at the agenda. Are we to, it says public hearing. That's not a decision, right?
It doesn't have to be. So the public hearing, you'll open the public hearing for public comment
Okay.
and then close it. And then the agency, the committee can have discussion and you can either choose to, I mean, you can vote on it. So you can vote on it, or if you think you need more information, you can request more information from the applicant.
Okay.
And I'm kind of hoping, I haven't heard from James,
Okay.
but we do need four to make any sort of decision. So if Marcy's here, if we're able to do the hearing and all that before she needs to leave,
Okay.
that'd be ideal.
Yep.
Because I guess I think the code says a majority. We have 6 members right now, if you count Al.
Define that quorum.
Yeah, we should probably reach out to him and after this month and let him know he's not up for renewal.
Is this your last meeting with us?
Mhm. Times are a changing. That's the third one in like 15 minutes. I wonder if they're going to the same thing.
It's pretty slick.
Is it?
Just keep bumping into each other.
Yeah. Jeff, when are you headed back out to Oregon?
Either, later this week, or weekend, I guess, or maybe early next week.
Mhm. Okay. Is it supposed to be decent weather?
What's that?
Decent weather?
Oh, definitely gonna watch it.
Yeah.
It
Hey, Marcy. Hi.
was pretty nasty,
Yeah.
last week.
Mhm. So Tara, we do have quorum now. We can get started if you're ready.
Okay, sounds good. Well, alrighty. Let's call the meeting to order. So, I'll do roll call. Jeremy Battles,
Here.
James Caniglia, Marcy Dye.
Oh, I think she called.
I think that was you. At least written in.
Mhm. Marcy's here. You were really muffled.
Oh, sorry. Al Jones. Tara Mastel here. Victoria Porter. Absent.
She's technically not on the committee anymore.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. And then
Okay.
Jeff De Benedetto.
Here.
Okay. All right. So, moving on to approval of the minutes for November 13th. Jeremy sent those out today.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
We have a motion. Is there a
Second.
second? Okay. Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
You're
say
really quiet again.
aye. Okay.
There.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. it is.
Okay. Sorry. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. Okay, so I sent out minutes from September 11th, the September 11th meeting, but they aren't on the agenda, so we'll probably have to just move them into the January agenda for approval.
Yes.
Okay. And then I didn't have who made there's one part in there. I know Victoria made the motion for the approval of the bylaws, but I didn't remember who made the second. So if anybody has that, I will take that and I can make that correction.
Don't remember, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. Okay. Let's see. Should we move on to new business? The public hearing for the application for the coffee kiosk redevelopment. Turn it over to you, Courtney, because I'm not really sure how this goes.
So, yeah. So, Tara, you can ask for just sort of a general presentation from the applicant, and then after that, you can open the public hearing portion for any public comment. That sound good?
Okay. It sounds the applicants must be there. I'm sorry that I couldn't be there today. I hope I don't want to share my germs. So, okay. Let's see. It's Kathy and Kristen. Is that right?
Kate and Kristen. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Kate and Kristen, do you want to give your presentation?
Okay, yeah, we basically, the packet that we brought, I sent in for the application was, since you guys last month kind of saw our proposal, I just expanded on that a little bit. Some of the things we have to improve are from code, city code, for the paving. And I included just the colors of what we want to paint the exterior, just a dark blue with a white trim, that kind of thing. I've been playing phone tag with the Jim at that asphalt paving place, to get a written, he gave me all that information that I presented for this, but I don't have it in writing yet, but he was out of town, so I guess he got back today and we're playing phone tag. So, it is currently on the city sewer, but it is a well. And, since the last time I was here, Eric, I believe his name was, the water guy, he came out and looked, and I met with him on site, and he showed me that it is a well that feeds that cleaning business, and then same property. So he just goes a well over to the coffee hut, and he commented that, since the well is in use, that they're not gonna make, the owner update that to the city sewer until the property sells. So they'll leave it alone the way it is for now. And we just have to get the water tested, of course, because it's a well. So that's taken care of, and we're just waiting. Wait. But, any questions? I mean, like I said, it's pretty much the same information as far as what we will need to do. The big thing is the pavement, but, the big cost. So,
We'll see. questions for after the public hearing. We just had.
So I don't
Okay.
have anything else to add, I don't think. Do you? No?
No, as long as you guys got a copy of the breakdown of
Yeah.
what we would
That's
have
part
to
of the
do
application.
yeah, to get it up and running.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So now we just,
And I also met there with the county health guy, health department. He came out and we showed him the building as it is now, and he helped us, you know, well, you're gonna have to, you know, you have to have commercial fridge, you're gonna have to have commercial, you know, stuff like that, and just talked about it with him too, so he was very helpful. Now,
Okay.
shut up.
great, thank you. So now we open it up for, you said public hearing, Courtney?
Yep, for public comment.
Public comment,
There-
okay.
Yeah, and there's no one here and no one online, so, you can request public comment, give it a couple seconds,
Okay,
and then you can close the public hearing.
all right. Is there any public comment on this application? Okay, hearing none. We'll close the public comment.
Yep. You're quiet again.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
It went dark again.
Do. I'm really sorry I can't be there.
No, it's okay. You're learning the process. So, now we can bring it to the urban renewal for discussion of the application, and then, yeah, you can ask questions to the applicant. There's a couple of things I can add, if needed, but it's it's in your plate now.
Okay,
For discussion.
great. Does anybody from the agency have any comments or questions or thoughts on this?
I'm curious about actual numbers. I guess you're still trying to nail that down.
Yeah.
As far as the paving is kind of the main cost you're looking at.
the paving, yeah. He told me what it would be, you know, I told him about 250 linear feet driving around, and so he told me on the phone that it would be like, he would go 13 feet wide, that's what he usually does for driveway type things, and that he would charge like $6 a square foot. So that's how I came up with that number, I just don't have anything, quote in writing from him. The other things were just, things that we, got pricing ourselves. The plumber, you know, he gave us, again, not written bids, but told us what it would cost for, you know, that smaller, heating tank. And then we found out from the, county guy about, you know, what needs to be under there and everything too, so. Those numbers are, you know, close as I can get. It's like, okay.
Well, for the person who I contacted in regards to the plumbing works for Williams Plumbing. For him to do a official bid through Williams Plumbing would be months out. So he was just giving us a rundown of what a size, you know, water heater would be for that size that we're looking for. You know, the basics of plumbing that it would require,
Yeah.
the sinks.
He has seen it all, he's been in there.
Yes.
And the new flooring, again, was a bid from a person, telling us what it would cost. I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know if the interior cleaning should even be on this thing. I expected you guys might say, no, we're not gonna, you know, include that as part of the improvement. But it is something we're gonna have to, address. And then that, in order to do the pavement, Jim said that, you know, we're gonna have to put some, highway gravel, base gravel on part of that, because it's just lawn. It's not actually even gravel. Some of it is, because of the old way they used to go through there, but not all of it. And then The landscape picnic area, I honestly I ballparked that. I do want to put some shrubs there. I comment about like lavender plants or, you know, things out front, to make that more of a picnic area. Purchase a picnic table, a couple of Adirondack chairs or something like that for next spring. And then the health inspection permits and stuff like that. And then the appliances and inventory, I literally priced all of those, like through Lowe's and, like, you know, the commercial grade things that he said we would have to do. So, right now, there's literally just the old hot water tank in there. And then there's an old espresso machine that does belong to, Fred Brewer, and he said we're more than welcome to use it, so I'm gonna have to then take it to Billings and get it kind of refurbished or looked at and see if it's worth, to reuse it or just buy a new one. So, trying not to spend anything, to be honest with you, until this is the biggest step for us. For, you know, I don't wanna go crazy and start buying stuff and then find out it ain't gonna work out, so, anyway.
So I have a question more for Courtney. So, this is a reimbursement program, correct? So they will, once it's approved, then they spend the money and then they turn in receipts for reimbursement? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, so if like, say the agency approves for the, the sinks. So the sinks to bring the building into code, that is an eligible cost if the board wants to approve it. So say the sinks end up being $2,300 instead of $2,500, the board would, or the city would reimburse the $2,300. But
So
if the sinks were over,
And I've spoken with Courtney about this, so the only thing that really, that I can't afford to do up front is that paving. And of course, that won't happen until, you know, May. He said probably the middle of May before, because the asphalt plants or whatever are closed down now till next spring. So that wouldn't happen right away, although I would hope that I could get permission to open earlier and have that all planned out with Jim, you know, on a date and everything, so. But when that happens, I won't have $20,000 to hand over to him. And I've been in banking a lot of years, and I said to Courtney, well, couldn't we, he gives me the receipt, I present it to the agency, and then they could just make the check out directly to him, you know. If we could do that, that'd be great. That's kind of how we do it in banking is, you know, when you're doing construction on a home or something, the bank pays the vendor, not, you know.
yeah, it would be addressed through that development agreement,
Yeah,
yeah. And Brian could do a temporary certificate of occupancy. He does that sometimes if the public improvements can't be completed because it's winter, you know,
Yeah.
whatever reason, and so then he'll do a temporary certificate of occupancy, and then if they don't happen, then he revokes it, so,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So, another question, Courtney. So what if, say, for example, we were talking about the sinks. So what if the sinks came in at $3,500 instead of $2,500? What happens in that case?
We would only pay the $2,500 because it's what was approved, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I have a couple questions, Courtney.
Mhm.
Is this gonna have to go in front of the planning board as well?
Yeah,
Or design review, just design review?
no, conditional use because it's a drive-through facility,
Okay.
but not through the design review because of the new change.
And the other question I have, just is in terms of the application, I guess, it's process itself. And it referred to chapters 4, which gets into, required criteria for evaluating a project. And I guess I didn't, and there's a number of things listed there, but I didn't necessarily see them addressed in the application.
For like the growth policy
Growth-
and the
growth policy,
zoning.
yeah, and the goals and objectives of the renewal district,
Mhm.
consistency with other adopted plans. And I guess I'm just asking the question more or less if those need to be sort of highlighted as part of the application, or.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too earlier today, looking through it and looking through the plan, and I think it's something, maybe an oversight, putting together an application of making sure this group has a checklist of things to discuss through the process, that are in that. You know, I don't see anything to me that is against the Montana Code, growth policy, zoning regs, the urban renewal, the TIF district itself. There wasn't anything in this to me that stood out as going against any of our policies and regs, but I think it is a good process question that, especially when we get bigger projects that will be a little bit more tricky to navigate, I think that will be good for this group to have a checklist of those different things to look at.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, especially, if it goes before a planning board, yeah, consistency with the growth policy
Mhm.
is gonna be one of those criteria that's gonna have to be
Mhm.
part of that
Mhm.
staff report, as well as consistency with red lot zoning, so. And, while this is kind of a small project, I guess what I'd like to see is actually where each of these are addressed in the
Mhm.
application packet
Mhm.
that we get. So we kind of know what, at least those things have been looked at, and
Mhm.
whether there's, that the project is in compliance or with, consistent
Yeah.
with those items.
Yeah, and I know Kristen and I talked about it while we were going over, some of like her application, because there wasn't really, I mean, you're right, there's no section really that says, how is this consistent with growth policy, zoning regs? And I guess those are also things that maybe in my mind, they weren't as big of a deal because it will go through the planning board. But if we get something that won't go through the planning board as a conditional use, then that'll be probably more on this agency to kind of do that diligence.
I mean, one issue is that we don't know officially how much money this agency has in, unless that's changed since our last meeting, right?
No, I mean, we've been told 223, but that's not the official,
Well, 223 is the increment.
yeah, the
We don't
increment,
know what
yeah.
that is in dollars yet, right?
Mhm.
So. You're catching us very early in the process.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I realize we're the guinea pigs here.
Yeah.
A little bit.
budget, so, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also something that'll go through council as well, like when it goes to the council level, Lonnie will look at what's in our budget, what's available, and what can be dispersed.
I don't want to approve something that we can't disperse, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, really, you're just recommending approval,
Sure.
yeah. So you could
Still spending money though.
yeah, you're still recommending spending of money. But, I mean, you can, in your recommendation, you can include up to a certain amount, or as the TIF district allows, but.
Courtney,
In a project like this as well, where we have the application, there isn't anywhere in there that says they'll only, we can only cover up to a certain percentage or a certain section of it. There isn't any direction. We could fund all of it, we could fund a portion of it, I mean, but
Yeah.
in my brain, I don't know how to say, yeah, we'll fund all of it, we'll fund half of it. I don't know where that limitation is.
So in your recommendation, if there's with this list of, I kind of went through and tried to think of like the code and what other examples and what would be okay to approve. The sinks, yes. The
Great.
hot water tank, for me. The flooring, probably not. The deep clean, no. And then the public infrastructure, the pavement, all of, like, base road mix, the pavement, yes. The landscaping is a public, improvement. And then the permits, you could. So it's really just, so you could itemize what you want to approve, and then, do some calculation of that dollar amount.
To me, the logic would go, what is technically able to be, hypothetically possible, and then the next pass would be, which elements meet the goals of the district. So it would be primarily, in this case, probably the beautification part and the infrastructure improvement.
Yep.
So the streets and the park part would be kind of the main.
Well, those are the ones that I'm concerned about, and, the other things that they're not, I can deal with those, but
Yeah.
that's the big one,
Mhm.
the paving and.
To the extent that it eliminates blight would be what we could lean on to recommend it.
Yeah. And supports redevelopment, I mean, that's a big, right, a big part of this, and, where that has been sitting vacant for a while, and then this is helping to bring a property into compliance for any future use, and.
Putting it back in use. Making it a better entrance for people coming in.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
In my brain, I think that's one of the biggest goals of this organization is the infrastructure and making it just a better place to be. And then your job is the inside. Correct. If that, that's where my brain works.
Ideally, whatever dollars are invested would be something that kind of multiplies. So if another business nearby can then, take root, and or even residential or whatever.
So I guess, the ingress and egress part of that, I did see where there was a response from Montana DOT. Are there any potential future issues with when, I'm not sure, is this property passed or is it gonna be within that, when they reconstruct 212?
It's further south than where they're planning all those, like, major improvements. And Zach did say that, because I asked about access if they are changing anything, and he said there shouldn't be an issue. It's probably 5+ years down the road anyways, and he said very small chance if they changed the design, but he was like, at this point, I don't expect with the current design that there should be any
I
issues.
looked that up and I noticed that everything starts like 2 Mile Bridge on down to Roberts. I think that's
Yeah.
their.
Yeah, and I think they're wanting to do like sidewalk improvements and all that. That's why, like, we didn't require, Red Lodge jails to put in sidewalks, because NDT is supposed to be doing some road improvements, but not any of that major stuff. He said, no, it shouldn't be an issue.
And, the proposed bike and walking path or trail, will that be affected by this at all, or?
for along like the, that they're planning like along the right of way.
Yeah.
No, they'll have, and they'll, like, it's set back quite a bit, and then, I mean, there'll be landscaping up front, so nothing really permanent. And part of the reason why they're not required to connect to city water is because you'd have to dig up in the highway to connect, and so, yeah,
People would be happy.
yeah, MDT wouldn't, for one, probably wouldn't approve that, so it would be something that we should coordinate with MDT when they're getting ready to rip that up, but. Sarah, you were about to say something earlier?
Yeah, I guess I was just,
Oh.
like,
You're quiet again.
do we call the question, or what do we, what is the pleasure of the agency members there?
So if you all feel like you're ready to make a decision, you can make a decision, you can make a motion, for a recommendation, and then be specific about what you'd like to recommend, or if you feel like you would need more information, or if your recommendation is not to, it's still, if you guys are ready to make a decision.
Courtney, could you just review what you say, what in your opinion is eligible from the list that is in the application?
Yes, so, the sinks, because that's a code issue. The hot water tank, I don't think so. The flooring, I don't think so. The deep clean, no. The base road mix and the pavement, yes. The landscaping, yes. And the permits, yes, but it's administrative costs, I would say, but. And then to Marcy's point, she was also saying it's a inside-outside kind of like split as well. So the inside things don't have to be, generally, if it's a code issue, you can justify it through saying that in order for this building to meet health codes, they need to do these.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Does anybody?
Like the exterior paint could be added in addition to what's
Mhm.
listed here.
Yeah, it's a facade improvement.
Did you say something, Sarah?
Yeah, does anybody want to make a motion, or we still have questions, still thinking?
I mean, my only real hesitation is just not knowing how much money we have in the agency. That's my main concern.
And when do we think we might know how much money we have?
I mean, I think,
Uh.
is there someone I can bug at the county? Because, kind of in their hands, right?
Yeah.
So this is through the county, this fund, or the city?
It's through the city, but the county calculates,
Okay,
basically.
Yeah.
okay.
I know the city, so the number that the city was given, the other city clerks say this is what we always budget for. So the city was given the 223, and the other city clerks just say it's generally about that much, 223,000, and they say it's generally about that much. So we always just put it in our budget, and then we get like a more finalized number later. Because of all the development at Alpine Basin,
So,
pretty big.
you can't put the 223 into a budget, that's not dollars, that's the increment. That's the
The inc-
taxable, that's the value.
Yeah. I don't know, I think that was
I think the 223 is the
the
taxable.
incremental value.
Taxable value. If that's the case, then it depends on how many mills were taken out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think we can make the assumption that it's 223.
Hmm.
Could be significantly less. But we just don't know how much less. Would that be something maybe, county clerk could look into?
Yeah, Lonnie, I mean, we could talk to Lonnie
Yeah.
and see if she has any, like, firmer numbers, and then she can talk to the county clerks. You could also make your recommendation contingent on something like that,
Yeah, I
too.
was just gonna ask, rather than stop, you would have to wait a full
Mhm.
another month to make that decision, the January meeting, or could you make it, could you get something from the county right away?
So if we make a recommendation here, and then it goes to the planning board, or does it go from here to the council?
It will likely wait for the planning board first,
Okay.
just so that we know what, if it's going to council, that it is, something that's like a use that the planning board has
Okay.
approved.
The next time it would could come to the planning board would be after the first of the year, right?
Mhm.
That'd be the earliest.
It'd be, so say this went through tonight, then the next planning board meeting is January 10th. So I could get that out, notice it.
This kind of goes back to our process, right? Like, do we
Mhm.
want planning board okay before we even? Is this something where we would want planning board to give us a good stamp before we even make a recommendation?
I mean, as James was mentioning that you would probably want this first, because this is a deciding factor. Like, if this isn't approved, then they're not gonna move forward with the costs affiliated with a conditional use
Gotcha.
review.
Gotcha.
And so, and then that approval would then move both of these to council of, okay, they received planning board approval for the use of it, they received this recommendation from the agency.
So for a larger project, I would think you'd want to get feedback from the planning board. Somehow sync that up a little bit better,
Mhm.
because if you recommend a project here, goes to the planning board, and there's issues,
Mhm.
those issues could add additional costs because
Mhm.
the conditional use is placed on it, so. Yeah, that's a good question in terms of process. I mean, with this one, it's small enough that I don't foresee any issues as far as
Mhm.
planning board goes, but for a much bigger project,
Mhm. Yeah, the concern would be ex parte, if there's too much planning board, like if it's planning board's giving input on something that they aren't officially reviewing. But I think that's something to figure out at a later, yeah. So Jeremy, where are you with the?
Well, what are you guys' thoughts, so, ballparking, like, village in that region? You know, this one project could be a quarter of our funds. And is that okay? I don't know, I'm not saying that it's not necessarily, but I want everyone else's opinion on that too.
when would we know how much actual dollars are available?
I think we could know now, it's just a matter of having someone
Yeah.
has Black Mountain, has the mills at hand, and knows which levies actually apply to the test,
Mhm.
so. I mean, it is an unknown, but like Courtney said, if we want to do a contingency thing, like at what point would we be comfortable? We can say something like that.
I feel like for using you as a guinea pig, which we really are. But I also, personally, this is just my personal thoughts, I'd really like to see the process, and I'd like to, approve with contingency or make a recommendation on the 3 or 4 external items plus the sink. This is me forming something in my brain, not emotion. And then having it moved to planning board and have them see the process of something coming from us
Mhm.
to them and working on it. And then, I mean, it might come back and we might have to work on it both together, but this is the first stab at this. This is the first time we've done this, and we need to work on it. We can't stall it because we don't know what we're doing.
Mhm.
We have to move forward and make a few mistakes maybe. But we've gotta step it through and see what we're doing. That's my brain process right now.
Well, Marcy, I agree with you. I was just thinking, what else, between now and our meeting, when is our next meeting? I think the 4th.
January.
Yeah, I mean, we don't, there's no more information. There's nothing more that we're going to learn or know, I don't think, other than maybe how much money we have. So I kind of agree with you, Marcy, that we should make a decision and move forward with it. It is kind of nice that it's a smaller project, because
Right.
if we make a mistake, it's not, $200,000 or $1 million, and it would be nice to get that property back in use. So, yeah.
Well, I would just personally like some kind of contingent on
Yeah.
funding. I don't want it to use 100%, of our annual on one thing
Well,
necessarily.
totally agreed, exactly.
But where that line is, I don't know.
Because we don't even know what that line should be, because we don't know the
Right.
total amount.
Yeah. What defines big in this first year is,
Mhm.
we don't know yet, so.
Well, I guess one thing we could do is think about a motion that contingently approves the items that we're gonna approve, and it sounds like the really big ticket item is the pavement and landscaping, some of the exterior stuff, so that would at least give them a sense that that's where we're going, but all dependent on what the final.
Having money is
Mhm.
It is important, yeah, exactly. And obviously, we don't know what other projects are coming up, so we can't anticipate, but do you see anything down the pipeline? Do you?
Nothing immediate. There's a lot of discussion for workforce ones, but, I don't see anything immediate. I'd expect we probably would get more of these smaller ones, especially if this goes through and you start doing work and then other businesses are like, oh, I can get money for facade improvements. Like, I could see that probably sooner than some of these bigger ones. Yeah.
How about that one project that was being discussed?
He's still on hold. It's still just not, the return of investment's not there for him yet.
Okay.
Everything's still so expensive.
Well, how long do you have to wait in order to approve a big project? Then your money's you're gonna have to wait
Mhm.
year by year by year in order to accumulate what you need for a big project then?
Actually,
Yeah, and they can be phased out as
Yeah.
well, so you're not allocating, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
but that's kind of, counterbalanced a little bit by the taxable value that your business could potentially add.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
It will add value and then bump up that increment a little bit, so that in the following year.
Right,
Mhm.
That will contribute, so that is,
Mhm. it's okay if you make a motion and then we can amend it. I just want to get it out there for discussion. Be shy.
I would do it, but I'm not really supposed to, right?
Yeah,
Mm,
that's
you
the
can't,
chair,
can you?
yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Mhm.
We need to put them, I guess we do need to put a dollar amount in the motion, right?
Mhm. I would say up to,
Mm-hmm.
want me to do some quick math or?
Yeah, I have just my notes from last time, but they're not complete.
So you're saying things?
So if we do those items that Courtney listed, looks like it'd be, take it down to 25,675 if we funded 100%.
I have 22,300 for the sinks, the road mix gravel, the pavement.
I think Jeff also mentioned the exterior paint.
Oh, that's right, yeah. And then did you include landscaping?
That's, yeah, what I did is I just subtracted the hot water tank and the flooring and the interior deep clean, which was 5,400. I just subtracted that from the 31,075.
Okay,
That's where I got the 25,675.
Okay. Five plus 600 plus 19,200 plus 3,000 plus 640 plus exterior paint 435. 25,375.
What'd you say?
I have 25,375.
That includes you added the exterior paint to that.
Yeah, oh, are you using the pavement? So there's pavement costs on one, I see that says 19,500, and then on the other page, it's 19,200.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing the 19,200, the cost of eligible improvements. So I see.
Fact that 25,000, probably about a quarter of. We don't know for sure. Would we want our motion to say something like, contingent on availability of funds, move to approve application for URA funds up to $25,000 or whatever? Or, and then list the specific line item.
Mhm. Yeah, because then it can get to council, and if there's a more specific number, you know, I feel like whomever would work with this group to say, this is how much is available, and then at council, I mean, they can take items off, you know, prioritize the gravel, the pavement, and take items off if the council feels like they need to, they don't want to spend a quarter of the funds or whatever ends up being.
And the council will understand what is required for code, correct?
Yeah, that'll,
Okay.
yeah, that'll be part of them. it's weird, because usually there's like a staff report and it's not required because this agency kind of acts as its own entity, so.
I just didn't want them to see it and think that that's something that we're wanting to do by choice. It's
Yeah.
truly something that.
Yeah, and I
required
think,
to do.
oh, Chris, did you add that? I forgot to look, because we talked about that in your little summary of trying to, like, clarify when things are due to code.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, per city code, and then the,
So you're talking 25% of the 223?
No,
Well, he's saying that's
223 is not what we have.
That's not
I don't,
it's the incremental
He
value.
doesn't know what they have. He doesn't know what they have.
Well,
'Cause
if
they have
Turkey's
to-
right, and it is 223,
Mhm.
then, a quarter of that is 55,000.
He's saying
I think it's taxable value, though, I think you're.
Yeah, because they have to turn it into mills, and then it's whatever the mills ends up being, yeah. But I know, like, it's in the city budget as 223, and then until we get the mill value. Yeah, that's just what the other clerks do to be able to account for it.
well, and honestly, this, the court case with the state mills would probably affect our value too. So, get an extra 17.9 or whatever.
Mhm.
Yep. That just came out on the school level today, too.
Mhm.
Are you putting together a motion?
Yeah, I was gonna do it, and then I see you got new.
Kind of, so what were the items we were saying, so paving, the gravel base?
What I checked off was to replace the sinks. I'm going down this cost of eligible improvements. So replace the sink, base road mix gravel. So replace the sinks, 2,500. Base road mix gravel, 600. Pavement installed, 19,200. Landscaping, picnic items, 2,000. Permits, 640, and then we talked about adding the exterior paint, which is another 435.
It might just be easiest in your motion to say the item numbers on that worksheet instead of listing them out.
You have that printed out? So the item numbers, which one?
One,
Okay.
that's the sinks.
Yep.
Base road mix gravel, that's 5. Pavement installed is 6. Landscaping, picnic items is 7. Permits was 8, and then if we add exterior paint, that would be 9.
1, 5, 6, 7, 8.
For page 7, cost of eligible improvements.
And what was the total for that? It was 25 something?
I have 25,375 written down, unless that changed.
Yeah.
We'll put that in there because that's the total.
Okay.
Okay, so, I would like to move to approve, this application recommended to council, contingent on availability of funds, for 25,375, specifically for the eligible improvements 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 on page 7 of the application.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 I
All opposed, same sign. Okay, the motion carries. Good job. Our first.
Yes.
Now I can breathe.
Yeah.
Now that's done.
Now you can give me that
Now it's your hard.
conditional use permit.
Yeah, yeah, I was just gonna say, if I get that to you tomorrow, for example, They won't look at it in their
It'll,
December meeting, will they?
no, because it's too late for this December meeting, and then the public notice would probably get out by Monday. So Monday,
Which is when you're not here?
I'll be here Monday.
Oh,
That's my last day. So I can get the notice out in the paper, and then I'd likely will be the person that's doing that conditional use through planning board anyway, so I'll still be around.
You'll be here. Planning board. So on that and the sign permit, I'll get to you
Yep,
this week,
Yep.
for sure.
yeah. Yeah, and the sign permit will just go through me, so, yeah. Okay,
All right.
okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for sitting with us.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks for dealing with us. Thank you so much.
So I think we should make note of, thank you for sticking around in this.
Yeah, no, I had to bug out of here I had another meeting that started at 6, so.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Marcy.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for, I didn't want you to feel like I was pushing you because I had to leave.
Sorry, I totally forgot about that. I didn't mean to like keep you.
No, that's totally fine,
And,
absolutely.
yeah, and I wonder if we need to revisit in the new year, changing the dates of meeting, if we want to try to have a school board member present. We don't want there to constantly be a,
But it's just tonight. We don't normally have,
oh, okay.
on
Okay.
Monday nights. It's usually Wednesdays. But
Okay.
tonight we've got, we have it's actually one of my favorite meetings. It's our strategic planning, so,
Ooh,
yeah, for the next 5-10 years, so.
well, that's fun.
Yeah.
So that'll go for a while.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna go, they're gonna feed us dinner, so it's good, but it's gonna go for a while.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
Look, you guys did it! I'm
Yay.
excited for you guys.
I am too. Little nerve-wracking, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a good first project to kind
Yeah.
of, you know, get your feet wet and
Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Bye, Sarah.
happy holidays.
Bye.
Bye.
But I think, so, making sure maybe in the minutes of Jeff's notes of the process and the things to add to our application.
Yeah, I was just thinking it'd be good just to have each of these, at least these required items listed,
Mhm.
and then,
The criteria ones. Yeah, because we did, when we were talking through her application, I tried to push like anywhere that something, you're doing something because it's part of the zoning regs, we've talked about it, or the, you know, county health code, like clarify that, but it would be better if there was a location for them to really fill that out.
yeah, 'cause some of these are very things that planning board's gonna have to look at anyway,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
it's not gonna be a waste of time to,
Mhm.
especially compliance with growth policy and
Mhm.
zoning regulations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are those?
The-
Oh, that's in our urban renewal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess how I caught it is I was just reading through the form here, and it says, application may be denied for not adhering to chapters 4 and 5 in
Mhm.
the urban renewal plan, and so then we looked at what's in chapter 5, I guess,
Mhm.
and I saw the required criteria, and then I was kind of looking for that in the
Mhm.
application.
Mhm.
Yeah, I saw that today too, because I was looking through just to make sure that there's any glaring thing, again, that I had missed. And then I was like, oh, we do have this evaluation criteria, and we generally, she and I talked about them, but I think we're on the same wavelength, of it needing to be spelled out more. Especially for those big projects, it's gonna be,
Yeah.
They can get
This
messy.
is a good one, just because it's small enough and
mhm,
doesn't have a lot of implications, but something like
mhm.
Aspen Basin, whole different ballgame.
Mhm. Okay,
Or like the one that we've been talking about, North
Yeah.
Dams.
yeah.
So just looking at the rest of the agenda, we don't have a quorum now, right? So, well, we don't really have anything else for decision making, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I guess the only thing that I wanted to bring up, maybe, when we can't do it because, is the January 8th meeting. So, I mean, it will be, I'm like done at the end of the month, but I'm also not starting at Great West until mid-January. So I don't know. I mean, this group does not need a staff member to meet, but in regards to getting an agenda out and noticed and all of that, if you want to meet in January, great. If not, then you can meet in February, and then you'll know more about the planning board. You know how that conditional use went.
So between now and then, well, now and the 8th, council would meet, but as needed, met.
Yeah, and they'll meet that 9th, the next day.
The ninth
Yeah.
day.
So, I think it's something, Tara, I think you can cancel a meeting. I can't remember what exactly, but I think it's like through an action of the majority. So we could probably do that through email too, if we feel like we need to cancel. Otherwise, you can show up and adjourn the meeting right away. There's a lot of ways to go about it.
Okay, I'm not sure that I caught what you were saying, what you think we should do.
For January 8th to cancel,
Uh-huh, okay.
yeah, so we don't, because I won't be here. You don't have to cancel. I'm just sort of thinking of it. You're not gonna have really like a staff person making sure the agenda gets out and it's noticed.
Uh-huh.
So if someone wants to do that, to have the meeting on the 8th, you can. Otherwise, we need to figure out an avenue to cancel the meeting since we don't have quorum to do it right now.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm in favor of canceling the meeting. It would be hard for me to be there anyways. I probably have to be traveling for work that day, so. Yeah, I'm in
Yeah.
favor of canceling as well.
Okay, I'll follow up with you. I'll look into it more of, what route to take.
Okay,
We probably could just do it, but I'll check and follow up with you.
thank you. Okay, should we adjourn or do we, we don't really have anything else, we don't have a treasurer's report, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we kind of discussed that in
Yeah,
the midst of.
yeah.
Okay. Did you adjourn?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
let's adjourn. Thank you.
Feel better, Tara. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here. I know you're
Yeah.
not feeling well, and happy holidays, guys.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks, Courtney. Good luck.
Yeah.
Congrats on your last day.
Thanks. Have a good night.